Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here for another review of a film that I got to see today on my day off, and this is The Glass Castle, and this is based off of memoirs by Jeanette who actually spoke at my college, Rider University, as this book was picked as the shared read for our freshman class one year, and it's a story of a young woman dealing with an alcoholic abusive situation with her father and being raised off the grid and then rebelling as an adult to being somebody who's highfalutin society in New York City. And this is such an intriguing story, and I was a little disappointed with how it actually was presented in the film. Destin Daniel Cretton was the director of this film, and the storytelling is very jarring. It doesn't balance because it's non-linear, and it doesn't balance going back and forth between her as an adult and her as a kid. It does where they make the breakoffs doesn't make a whole lot of sense, except for like, oh, it's time for us to jump time periods in time. And I always felt like when we went back to her as an adult, it was a far less interesting experience than dealing with her as a kid, dealing with her father in that time. And that was kind of disappointing because I'm like, take me back to when she was younger, whenever that would come up. And there is some scenes, especially when she's an adult, that lack energy. And for a lot of this film, it kind of wanders on. It's like, where's this going towards? Kind of like, where's this driving to? So the pacing's a little bit slow at points, and this is a 2 hour and 7 minute film. Probably could have been trimmed a little bit in terms of there's some tonal issues as well. There's some like the film starts off with like ha ha ha, it's like so nice and like so fake, and her being in this restaurant and everything, and then boom, when jumps to when she's a kid, and it's a very very different like jarring experience. And a lot of the scenes when she's older don't feel as real and engaging as when she, like the actual story of when she's a kid. They feel very staged and like Hollywood movie kind of stuff, and it kind of takes you out of the film. But that all being said, this film hits hard. There's a lot of scenes that hit really really hard emotionally, and because there's a lot of, this doesn't pull punches when it shows a lot of stuff, and that really sinks in very well. Now the cinematographer was Brett Pollack. I liked what he did in terms of framing shots and what they conveyed, but in terms of his handheld camera work, it was really shaky and really it wasn't really well done. And there's moments where it's like, should have been a stationary shot, and it's like, let's move it all around because I can't hold a camera still. And it takes you out of the movie because it's like, I'm trying to concentrate on what's going on with this character moment, and you're just like shaking the camera all over the place for no reason. So I didn't appreciate that very much. And now Destin Daniel Cretton and Andrew Lanham were the ones who wrote the screenplay for this, and I thought it was kind of ineffective nonlinear storytelling, as I mentioned before, because there's a divide in interest and energy when it comes to these different parts and how it was actually structured. So I didn't appreciate it that much in terms of that. But the thing is, this story is so unbelievably intriguing, and how Jeanette Walls actually grew up in this experience and should have been something that was like, boom, this is gonna hit you hard and leave you on the floor afterwards, and it wasn't able to handle that. And in terms of the characters, there are a lot of complex, interesting characters. There's so many layers to the characters in this film, from Jeanette and her parents, especially her father, Rex, is such an intriguing, complex character, and it makes it hard for you as an audience member how to feel about him, just like it is for Jeanette. Except for her fiance. He's like a piece of, like, he's a saltine. There's like nothing to him really, and it's like, okay. And that might be another reason why some of those scenes were just not like, you're not interesting at all. I know it's a plot point, but they really don't do much with him. And in terms of, and I mentioned this before, some of the scenes feel so very staged and the dialogue feels so very artificial, which is so disappointing because some of the other scenes feel so natural and feel so powerful. And it's just like, why? Why are you wasting on this? This isn't. Honestly, this made me feel a lot like Nocturnal Animals, a little bit, in terms of there's a movie, and it's about this woman reading a screenplay of another movie, and the other movie is so much more interesting than what's going on with her reading. That, and like, it's kind of like Jeanette Walls in 1989 as an adult, going back and thinking about her as a kid. I'd rather just see her as a kid because what was going on in the future wasn't as interesting. But this film does deal with a lot of very deep issues like abuse and alcoholism and really understanding feeling about family members and how complex that relationship can be. The music by Joel P. West was fine. The acting, Woody Harrelson sticks out so much. Such a fantastic performance by him. And I would be shocked if he doesn't get Oscar buzz for how well he performed in this film. Brie Larson does a really good job, and Naomi Watts does a fine job. And I do want to mention Ella Anderson, who plays the middle version of Jeanette Walls, and she does a fantastic job, especially for a child actor. Now, my it factor, what does this film bring to the table? It is a powerful film. There's powerful scenes, there's powerful performances, but it's mishandled. The story should have been so much more intriguing and interesting than it was, and it kind of misfired on that. And I'll go because it did hit me and it was emotive and made me feel a lot of the time. I'm going to give this slightly positive review. I'm giving The Glass Castle a C plus.